In the second era, from 1955 to 1974, Reverend and Mrs. Kenneth Marshall were elected pastors in May of 1957. Special Sunday school emphasis brought record high attendances on special days, breaking all time highs of 220 people. Under Brother Marshall's ministry, the church incorporated in 1958 as Bethel Free Independent Pentecostal Church. A constitution and bylaws were written at this time. In 1960, Reverend and Mrs. Emmett Hanson and family came to pastor for the next 4 years. Under his leadership, the church purchased the parsonage at 535 Broadway, East Alton. The records show that the new brick vestibule and offices were constructed on the church at 300 Lincoln, East Alton. Brother Hanson's able preaching and their ministry and song were a great blessing to the church till he resigned in 1964, and Brother Dwayne Ray filled in for several months until the church elected a new pastor. In 1965, Reverend and Mrs. Wilney Markham and family were voted in as pastors. Reverend Markham had a fruitful ministry and served the church for a period of more than 7 years. Reverend and Mrs. Darrell Reynolds' family served as pastor for nearly 1 year from 1973 to 1974. He was remembered as a gifted speaker and his ability to get a response during his altar calls. He, Brother Dwayne Ray, once again stepped in to take care for the flock until the next pastor could be found. It was under the capable leadership of Reverend and Mrs. Mike Adams' family that the church launched and expanded a great missionary program. His emphasis on missions caused a real surge in missionary giving and participation. Several from the church went on short-term 2-week working trips building some Central American churches. The Beasley sisters, Judy and Arlene, went as full-time missionaries for 3 years to Guatemala. During these years, the church not only helped with special and individual pledged mission offerings, but designated a 10% Sunday tithe and offerings to the cause of missions. The Adams served at Bethel from 1973 to 1976.
Brother and Sister Marshall, they came, and I don't remember, I was pretty young, I guess, and I don't remember a whole lot about them, except that myself and my brother Gary both went in the hospital and had our tonsils taken out. And I remember them bringing me a little doll, and my brother a truck. Another thing that he that I had never ever seen before, and that was played, and just an old saw, just the old-fashioned saw that you don't see nowadays, that you just saw back and forth with. Now everybody has the electrical saws, but I mean, he could play that thing where it made music. It's wonderful. It was beautiful. I mean, they played the piano with it, and it made a beautiful sound. Brother and Sister Hanson, he was a wonderful preacher. Sister Hanson played the piano, and they sung beautifully together. They both had a beautiful voice. And I remember one thing about Sister Hanson. We was having I can't remember if it was a church picnic or a Sunday school picnic, but everybody was just playing around and having fun. Some people was walking across the monkey bars, and Sister Hanson was pregnant. I think it was with Lisa. And she says, "Oh, I can do that." And she just gets up, goes across the monkey bars, and I'll never forget that. I thought that was the funniest thing for her to do with her being pregnant. One thing that I loved about Brother Hanson, and I can still just hear him do that today. He loved the song, How Great Thou Art. And when you came to the end there where you held it for a little while, I tell you, we would think he was going to pass out. He could hold it for so long. But he just loved that song. Our next pastors was Brother and Sister Markham, and we enjoyed having them. she played the organ and had really a good voice and loved to sing. But the thing that I remember most about her is that she was so sensitive to the Spirit, and she would do everything in her power to get the congregation being able to feel the moving of the Spirit. And we had many wonderful services actually from that, just because she was so sensitive. Brother Markham, they said that every town you'd go to, that he would know the best eating place. But he loved to preach. He preached hard. And he was a good preacher, and we enjoyed that. Our next pastor was Brother and Sister Mike Adams. He was a very good minister and had a real heart for missions. He started a bus ministry when he came to the church, something that we never had before.
Hi, this is Kathy Tillerson. Most of you know me as Kathy Jill Van Winkle, formerly from Bethel Pentecostal Church. And I am here today to interview one of our former pastors, Pastor Mike Adams, and he is here with me today. Pastor Mike, tell us a little about yourself and about what you're doing here in Georgia and about your family.
Well, we've been in Georgia now for several years, and we have several children that have grown up here. We have Mike is now pastoring a church in Illinois and is doing a great job up there. And Debbie, of course, still lives in Illinois. And then my other three boys are down here with me, and they're all busy and working and doing real well and all going to church. And I really praise the Lord for that. Kathy, I was friends with the former pastor, Brother Markham, and really loved Bethel and knew a lot of the folks who attended there, Dwayne Ray and his family and all of the Ray family. And I just, I was just kind of associated with it in that way. And when I found that the pastor, they needed a pastor, and somebody suggested that I come and preach for him, I decided that, after praying about it, I felt like this would be the will of God. And of course, I was accepted, and I really appreciated it. I appreciated the time that I had at Bethel. The most exciting thing about my time there at Bethel was the establishment of the missionary program. That was probably the most important thing that I remember is, the Beasley girls went to Guatemala, and I took several mission trips during that time. And the church was very much behind missions. Bethel had a lot of singing, and I'll tell you what, when the congregation sang, we sang with all of our heart. So, but there were some special songs that I really remembered. One of them that I loved more than anything, any other song. In fact, even to this day, it's one of my favorite songs. It's "My House is Full, but my fields are empty." And at Bethel, we tried to change that a little bit because some of our girls went to the mission field, and I took several trips to the mission fields during that time. One of the things that I didn't want for our church to ever become was just so stationary in one locality that we forgot about the rest of the world. And so as a result of that, missions became a very vital part of my life and a very vital part of what we did at Bethel also. It just thrills me to know that Bethel is 80 years old now. And in the area up there, Bethel was just one of the churches that you knew was established, was good, was strong. And I appreciated it so much, and I appreciated all of the people and the way that the folks responded when you preached. I loved preaching there. And the excitement that we experienced as a congregation and the family feeling that we had as a congregation meant so very much to me. And also the love that I experienced from the folks. And that is nothing that you can just think about. It's something that you feel. It's something that you carry with you. Something that is shared that you never forget about. And I appreciate the love that was expressed to me through the people at Bethel during my time there. And we just, I don't know, it was more like a big family to me than it was just a church. And I loved everybody there. And good things came out of Bethel, and I really appreciate it. Missionaries were sent out of Bethel. We were able to see property that the church now sits on. We began to organize that before I left there. And I really am excited about the good things that have happened at Bethel since I left. But I cherish those years that I was there. I want to say happy anniversary, 80 years to Bethel right now. And keep on doing the great work that you're doing. God bless every one of you.